All right, so this is Todd Atkins, and we're back with another episode of MMA Conspiracy Hour with Mike Davis and Miguel Adorati of the Lights Out podcast. And today we're going to discuss the rumors or subject of the next UFC event coming up here Saturday, and if Mark Zuckerberg had bought out the venue or not, and what might be going on there. So I'll let Miguel take it away.
Well, interesting. You got a couple of people dragging Mark Zuckerberg's name in, and the owner of Meta, formerly Facebook, is one of the richest people in the world, and he's made like more than a little drive by recently with this MMA stuff. He's made appearances on Joe Rogan, and he started to be an influence. And to my memory, I don't remember ever them, at UFC 77, they Mark Zuckerberg's in the audience and they chill him or something. I've never heard of him being at a UFC event before. This is something new, apparently. Or, his involvement now, his interest is definitely something new. He's not one of those guys that has 20 years of history of having been to the shows and hanging out with John Joe. That's not Mark Zuckerberg. So there's probably something deeper going on, Mike. I'm going to bounce it to you.
My man, first and foremost, Miguel, I'm in Denver, Colorado. So I'm working for Bare Knuckle right now, putting up posters, handing out flyers and stuff. So I haven't had my finger on the pulse of this. So let me just kind of recap what has taken place and correct me where I'm right and wrong, because I do have a theory on this. Mackenzie Dern came out with her Brazilian accent, even though she grew up here in the United States her entire life. And her broken English said that Mark Zuckerberg bought the entire like the UFC compound, like the arena where they're doing this show. He bought all the seats. Am I correct?
Yeah, she said that he rented out the venue or whatever.
Rented out the venue. And then who mentioned that there was no media allowed?
That was that guy who always gets the first question at the UFC press conferences. I
Okay,
forgot
the
his
guy
name.
that's here we go. The guy that's running the underground forum that is not contributing over there. This is Wes Sims telling me, not contributing, and it's supposed to go to Hong Kong Fooey. That's where everybody's petitioning for. That was Wes's latest update today. So yes, that guy, John Morgan, who's doing interviews for himself on his own YouTube channel. So that guy, Miguel, we both got turned down for that job too, I might add. So that guy said there's no press allowed. He's not going to be able to ask his first question. Then Dana White says, go ahead, Todd.
Well, Dana White just said that all these rumors are just BS.
Okay. But there's still no seats being sold, as well as no media. He's giving the media
Correct.
time off, correct? He's just giving them a little
that.
He's looking out for their best interests, making sure they got some family time in. Some would argue that their media, that's neither here nor there. That's a different conversation. So, Miguel, what are the odds that this is being filmed for Meta? At least like a tester for Meta.
Yeah, I don't even know if the show needs to be filmed for Meta. I think they'll translate it the same way, but I think we're going down the same path. I think that Zuckerberg and Facebook, they didn't buy the event. In other words, he's not the ticket window going, can I have every seat? And paying for it. So Dana has that, lawyer's way out an explanation so he can deny what's going on. But if they were going to include a UFC or fighter lifestyle type of presence in a virtual universe, they'd have to get to know this type of environment a lot closer. And this could be some type of development for something like a virtual reality.
It's a test. This is a test.
We've seen the UFC. Yeah, I think so. We've seen the UFC dabble in NFTs, which I don't even know that much about, but I understand, that's something kind of modern and stuff. And they go right in and they're selling NFTs with, Nick Diaz's name on it or Nate Diaz's name on it and things like that. Even Nate, I think, came out and said, don't buy that crap. But, you didn't get anything, out of it. So they've dabbled.
This
in
is a test run.
Stuff.
So Todd Atkins, this is my MMA conspiracy theory. Do you remember when Ariel Helwani lost favor with the UFC. What exact precise moments took place?
Yeah, I mean when he leaked the Brock Lesnar stuff.
Okay, so they leaked the Brock Lesnar stuff. And the employee there got fired for that. The one that they believe leaked it to Ariel because Ariel refused to give it up. The person that they believed did it got bounced, and Ariel was persona non grata, still is from that, never recovered. Whatever UFC employee opened their mouth in front of Mackenzie Dern is probably not going to make that event. I believe they're on a plane trip home already.
Do you think she was just trumpeting what Ariel Helwani said, though?
No, I don't think so. I think that's what she heard there. I think that's what she heard there. You know what I mean?
Oh,
She's focused for a fight. You know what I mean, Todd? She's focused for a fight. She's not catching MMA news, after weigh-ins and stuff like that. She's not doing any of that. I
we
mean, did
glossed
Ariel
over
say that?
something that I think
Like,
is important. I want to back up on talking about Zuckerberg. He's kind of been appearing in the
Joe Rogan?
MMA
Yeah.
rounds, so to speak. You know, he shows some training. He goes on Rogan. Now, this is the UFC paying him, or is he trying to get involved in MMA? What do you think?
There you go.
Yeah, I think you're looking at a major presence of sport, and it could really get on Meta into like something as simple as you start out off with a generic character and you get an orange shirt. Hey, you want to buy a Venom shirt or an Anderson Silva shirt or a John Jones shirt for your character online? It might cost you some money, virtual
It's
money
true.
or whatever
It's
it
so
is like that.
ridiculous. Freaking ridiculous.
I could also see, based on the way they do gambling algorithms on virtual casinos and things, where they could actually do virtual fighting and have it done by percentages so that there's not a guaranteed winner, and actually even take gambling on it. Again, they make you use virtual money on there, so for $100 on your credit card, you get $100,000 in the meta world, and there you can buy your shirt, you can buy this, and all of a sudden you realize, oh, I'm out of $100,000. I'll put another $100 on it. And that's how I think they envision making money. And believe it or not, that idea of a fighter lifestyle, I think, is appealing. There's a lot of people who don't get into the cage that do feel they're part of that lifestyle. Gym rats and fitness people and things like that could be dragged into spending money on that stuff. And I think that would be why Zuckerberg and the UFC, with their Illuminati type of new owners and stuff, I think they're thinking of something.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Are you talking dark arts, Miguel?
I don't know. It's like
you think there's like a seance happening and they can't have the press there?
it's like, look, having been in the business.
Wait. There you go. There you go. Go ahead. Sorry.
Having been
Go
in the
ahead.
business,
Go ahead.
I felt the strength of the Fertittas coming aboard, and when you have that type of presence on there, and these guys are a corporation above that. It's no longer even that. You barely know the lawyers and people above, and behind doors and things like that. Whereas at the end of the day, Lorenzo and they had their face out in front of it. Now I don't think it's that, so I think it's escalated even further. And that's why I think, you get Zuckerberg and people involved there that we're in a different world.
It seems. Go ahead, Tom.
But did Zuckerberg get the MMA bug, or did the UFC pay him?
It could come down.
I think it's opportunity. I think it's opportunity. Yeah.
They're going to have if they want a virtual world, the generic brand of sports is going to be a big part of that. And does the UFC value that being a presence in a virtual world in a grab a bigger piece of the pie now that they can and be the biggest sport virtually, bigger than football, bigger than whatever, every sport's going to have a presence on there, and every sport's going to have you the ability to buy a shirt online and do this or that and they're going to charge you for it. This is I
So
believe the model of Meta and these virtual worlds, right? So if the UFC wants to say we're the biggest world sport in the online world, that has some value to it. And like I said, that could also lead to gambling for fictitious fights that are computer generated.
okay, so I have never been on Meta, and I'm going to make a really bold statement here. Until Philip Miller, undefeated Philip Miller, the UFC fighter Philip Miller, has a T-shirt out, I will not get on Meta. So, but I would buy that T-shirt. However, this is a dry run for something. Can all three of us agree on this? Like Dana is, we're not going to say Dana's lying to us, but Dana's being less than truthful. Can we agree on that?
Yes.
Okay, Mackenzie Dern isn't 100% wrong in her statement. Can we agree on that?
Yes.
Okay. What do you think they're hiding, Todd?
I don't know what it is they're hiding, but I do find it interesting. First, we see this viral video, Zuckerberg training MMA. Then, boom, he goes to Rogan, and now there's this. So
What
it's
a
all real
disappointing interview.
coincidental.
What a disappointing interview on Rogan, though, wasn't it? It was more about what products he's got coming out next and how you can use them and buy them. A little bit on censorship about 2 hours in, only one topic rather than, pretty much outing the United States government of telling him to censor certain things, but nothing about the trans agenda or any of those things that are just kind of really prevalent there. Really strange stuff.
But I mean, you guys have been around the sport. We all have from the beginning, pretty much. There's always been guys who come in for a while and disappear. Is this what he's doing? Or do you think
no, he's transitioning?
Do you think the UFC paid him, or is he really into this?
This is his next business model. Like Miguel has been very articulate in regards to like how the UFC has scaled up until this point. So I'm going to try to make it simple for myself. UFC begins, then Reebok comes, crypto comes, NFTs come, and the fighter pay kind of stays the same. Like these NFTs and the crypto, none of that really helps the fighters that much. Now Meta is here. Meta, the best play that they can make is come now rather than later when everybody kind of understands their technology. So they're creating their contracts and bond prior to everybody else understanding their technology. Todd, have you been on Meta?
I haven't.
Okay, Miguel, have you been on Meta?
No, I think there are competitors that are more advanced than Meta. I'm not sure if Meta's out there. I really don't know, but there are different ones of these. And I can definitely see Zuckerberg as the face of Meta getting involved for the high-level deal. You complete the deal, and then you have a situation where perhaps they will be able to say that they are the only virtual reality world that has the fighter lifestyle built in. And it's something as simple as that is at a high level what I think that they will be going for at a marketing level. And like I said, all the other bells, you can buy a Venom shirt for your guy online, and then at the end of the day, you could actually have a fictitious champion defending a belt, and no injuries.
A pretend belt. Yeah, pretend belt.
No injuries. No, certain X factors of reality are taken out of it, but by virtue of the computer programming, they really, it's not guaranteed either party will win, and there is no predetermined outcome, and they could actually take bets on that. And I think that would be interest the UFC people, and everybody monetizes off of that, So
except the fighters.
Yeah. And we're definitely firmly in another deal that way, All
right, wait. So let's the three of us, none of us have been on Meta. I mean, obviously Miguel might be the only person that went on one of the competitors. Todd, I are still, betting 0% there. Right now would be opportune for him to get the best possible deal to where 3 or 4 years from now, it's going to appear monstrous now, but 3 or 4 years from now, people are going to go, man, they got a bargain there for what they're getting out of it. And that's the gamble that guys like Mark Zuckerberg, take. And this is the MMA conspiracy hour. Some would say he was given this government program and brought it to the public eye. I'm kind of in that boat, to be honest with you, at Facebook, but it's neither here nor there. They're going for a basement bargain price with an astronomical number for you and I, and when it pans out, it's going to be a monster deal for them.
And let me add to that a little bit of what's going on here behind the scenes, right? Because if Meta wanted to do this, Meta could go to Randy Couture and sign a contract with Randy, or sign a contract with Anderson Silva and sign a contract with St.
Scott
Pierre,
Coker. Yeah,
and go
Scott
to
Coker.
a lot of
Yeah.
the individual people and stuff like that. But the UFC's contract probably has given the rights to that to the UFC. In other words, no fighter needs. They
Well,
could
they did.
negotiate directly to them.
Miguel, it's
Because
in
any image,
perpetuity.
right?
It's in perpetuity.
And
That's
here's
the
the thing
John Fitch lawsuit.
when most of these guys signed up to that contract, this virtual reality type of world wasn't even,
In
really
existence.
in existence or reality and stuff. And now that they're able to monetize on it, it becomes really unclear whether they've given away their rights when they didn't even know that these rights existed. When are these rights included in the original contract? Probably probably in the UFC's favor, and it just gives when Zuckerberg's involved, this isn't small money. The Reebok deal at the end of the day was small money when you consider it was 76 million.
Nothing. Yeah, it's nothing.
And they do 9-figure deals for one basketball player. So they didn't really take it seriously, but Venom did, and it grew. The fighter pay didn't grow that much. Like you pointed out, they're selling NFTs. Even Nate Diaz came on his social media saying, "Don't buy that shit." And I think it's he's not getting a cut of it. So whoever
Have you seen Kamaru Usman's NFT?
I'm not sure.
Oh, it's fantastically horrible. It's like a real thick, nice, beautiful gold chain, if that's what you're into, around like a little square TV, like this little thing of him knocking out Jorge Masvidal. And, I guess you got to charge it occasionally so people can look at your picture of a man knocking out another man around gold around your neck. It tells you that we live in abundance because it's ridiculous. Anyone wearing that is going to be laughed at.
Yeah, I don't understand the appeal of a lot of this, or but it is the future, and I think that the guys that monetize that stuff are way ahead, and I think that's what's going on here. So Zuckerberg will fade away. I don't think you'll see him at UFC 300. Still following the sport. I think it'll be set up in the virtual world, and he'll be moved on to the next thing. Maybe he'll buy.
No, wait a minute. Let's talk about Facebook influence or Meta influence. You can't even say anything about big pharma or what they're forcing people to put in their bodies without having some sort of flag in regards to either a post or censorship. If Meta money comes into the UFC, does this mean a little bit of more censorship, a little more lockdown on some of the fighters and their social media posts? I mean, you got Michael Chandler that is very anti-vax and very upfront about it. And, they took that platform away from him. They just said, you know what, let's just not talk about it. You're just not going to fight in areas where you need it, where you need something like that. Does this mean Facebook influence? Facebook was real cool, until about the last 5 years when they started censoring everybody. That's when I erased my account. I'm very pro free speech to a degree of mental illness, and I got off Facebook. Does this mean if they cut a huge check to the UFC that their influence bleeds into with fighter conduct? That's the real question.
It's a corporate deal. It'd be odd, but it could happen. We're a conspiracy hour, so it could happen. It's part of whatever it is. I just don't picture myself sitting in front of my computer, like walking around in some virtual room, wearing a Venom shirt, acting like something I'm not. You know what I mean? But I guess there are a lot of people that may, there's a market for that.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Miguel. Real quick, there is a market for that. I was at Miami spring break last year. There's people walking up and down like the main strip in their bikinis, all done up makeup, taking pictures of other people's food that are eating outside, pretending like it's theirs. This generation that you and I can't relate to play make believe. They play pretend. Like they take pictures in front of cars for their social media, pretending like it's theirs for some weird social status. I've never experienced anything like this in my life. They don't want to work for it. They just need a picture with it. It fits the model that's coming, is what I'm trying to say.
So yeah, that's
it.
everything's a green screen.
You know, one more thing that I just want to Dana and Zuckerberg couldn't be any different as far as their ideals.
Yeah, Dana came out and backed Trump when it was incredibly unpopular to do so. Like when nobody, like Scott Baio and Dana were the only ones doing it. And let's talk about the Trump relationship with Dana. I mean, this is when have you ever seen Dana be comfortable or comfy with people that were his competition? Trump was one of the people funding Affliction. How does that change? How does them being enemies, because Dana has scorched the earth in regards to his business policies, and then all of a sudden they're buddy. Like, that's a relationship that needs to be explored. Like, how did that happen?
Well, he did give them the opportunity at Taj Mahal, originally.
You think he's going to look past Affliction for that?
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, it's true. Either way, Todd Atkins, let's take this bad boy home.
All right. So again, this is another episode of MMA Conspiracy Hour with Mike Davis and Miguel Adorado, Lights Out Podcast. Until next time.
Be good, brother.